I grew up in a home where I was never allowed to speak up, so I began writing in a diary. I have wanted to scream out for so long. Those who know me well understand the journey I have made in granting myself the freedom to express openly. I am vocal in championing for the underdog, for I, once, felt powerless. Echoes from the Naked Soul, an anthology of poems by Marguerite C. Anderson.
She began writing children's educational books in 2020 when COVID-19 afforded her the time to exhale and to pen ideas, and have authored 2 children's books so far and published an anthology of poems titled Echoes from the Naked Soul. Let's welcome Marguerite Anderson, author, poet, and English literature specialist, to share more. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise, Marguerite.
Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
So the pandemic, for many, would have been deemed an unfortunate occurrence, right? But many persons have found fortune, and you have found fortune with this anthology of poems. Tell us more about it.
Well, I have been living in the Turks and Caicos for the past 14 years. And so going through the pandemic, being away from my family, I felt very isolated. In fact, I lost 3 persons very dear to me. And outside of that, I also had so much time on my hands that I thought a lot about my past and my journey to where I am now. And all of these emotions cumulatively led me to writing this anthology.
Marguerite, walk us through the thought process when you sit to pen each word, each thought. What goes on in that moment for you to get to the final place where you now say, this is the masterpiece that the inner thoughts have allowed me to create?
Well, I am a woman who really is very passionate about the role of females. And as a feminist, I don't even call myself feminist. Let me retract that. But feminism concerns itself with the cultural and social, psychological, all the things that cause some form of oppression for women. And as a woman who has gone through a myriad of experiences where I'm just trying to find my ground, trying to be the best single mother I possibly could, I wanted to be the voice for other women who may not have the urge or who may be too afraid to speak out. We have so much that we're hurting from. And as women, we keep it bottled up inside. We are expected to hold it together. A lot of women are silently suffering, appearing happy on the outside. But Langston Hughes talks about this nature of quiet desperation that we go through as persons, not just as women. And I believe it is those that I wanted to share, and I wanted women out there to understand that they're not strong by keeping it in. They're actually strong by talking about it and releasing that pain.
You have been intentional about sharing some messages through this anthology of poems. I want you to tell me more about the messages that are shared and why did you choose those messages?
All right, let me start with a controversial message. It has to do with our sexuality. I share the message that women are sexual beings and that even when a woman is middle-aged, it does not turn off that faucet, you know, of her feminine ways. And so a few of my poems, they express very explicitly that awakening of a woman's sexuality. And outside of that, another very powerful message is tied into the way men treat women who have been their partners for many years, or simply who women gave their love to, and the disappointments that women get at the hands of men.
Marguerite, before we ask you to just share, you know, one of your masterpieces with us this morning, I mean, we are one Caribbean, yet different people. You've had the opportunity to live and work in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and you're born and raised here as well. I mean, how did that culture, with your culture, the Jamaican culture, influence the writing of your anthology of poems?
Well, for one, the Turks and Caicos culture would have allowed me to suppress certain things in my personality. Jamaica, we're far more open, far more open. I'll give you an example. In Jamaica, I have the sense that teachers are allowed to have a private life. In Turks and Caicos, I feel as though I am to disconnect from that private life. You know, even if I want to take a walk, I cannot wear shorts to take a walk, that kind of thing. Yes. Yes, that is indeed so. In fact, interestingly, when I had just got to the Turks and Caicos in 2007, I remember an experience where I was stopped by a police officer as I was walking, taking a stroll along the road, and I was told that I'm not properly dressed. Of course, I was stunned, because in my country, I can take a walk from my home to the plaza quite freely dressed this way. So there is the voice also speaking out to say, even though we are teachers, we are also individuals who existed before we became teachers, or before we even thought of entering the profession. And there is something about the profession that stifles teachers, you know? So
this has really had an impact in how you decide to look at the various themes in your writing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, it would be nice for you to share with us one of the powerful pieces that you've written.
All right. I did say that I write on behalf of single mothers. And so this poem, What Love Begets, it is replete with allusion, both biblical and literary. I'd like to share that one for you.
All right, go ahead.
What love begets. The mother loved him before she met him. On days when her love posed a threat, she gambled with her health and cradled him against her breast and clenched her teeth to preserve the gift her love begets. She supposed that with this seed, her soul could soar free, and he, her gentle dove, would one day bring her comfort from all the men who gave her unreciprocated love. The day came when in her jubilee, the mother held him close as he suckled. She journeyed with him through desert lands, and her love planted seeds that sprouted fruits from the sand. Then one day, in a cataclysmic transform, he despised the graceful garlands on his head, and instead, she bled from the blow of his knuckles. She watched him pluck the pendants from his neck, and in his unreciprocated love, the mother was decked. She nurtured him still, for love bears all. So in her hospice, she held him close. For what does he know? What does he truly know of love's austere and lonely offices?
The Caribbean Shakespeare.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So Marguerite, what's next for you before we ask you to just share your details and how can people follow your work and how can they obtain copies of the book that you're now promoting?
All right. My company is called Brain Edibles Collection. And I am on Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. All you have to do is Google Brain Edibles Collection and you will find me there. And please, my books are sold on Amazon.com. Please remember that to support authors, even if a book isn't purchased, there are many ways to support authors. Share the news, share the link with your friends and loved ones.
What's next for you?
What's next for me? Well, Echoes from the Naked Soul, I like to think of it as my baby. I think of it as my baby because when a woman carries that unborn child for 9 months, and then the 9 months pass, it is time for that baby to be birthed. And I have kept so much inside beyond the time that I should have birthed the pain and just released it. And so now, this anthology, it has liberated me, and I'm just ready to write my next book. My next book will be a children's book, and it is going to be based on an iconic figure on North Caicos, Turks and Caicos Islands. An iconic figure in our community. His name is Lovey Forbes, and that is the book I'm looking forward to releasing that sometime in January.
All right, and we thank you so much for talking to us this morning about your anthology of poems and anthology of poems. We wish you all the very best in everything that you choose to do. Thank you so much, Marguerite Anderson. And its social media is Brain Edibles _collection. We wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
You have a good day.
You too.